might come back to climate solutions, but I wanted to get one question in from the audience. As noted already, COP28 is coming up. What are your thoughts about the conference, significance compared to previous COPs, potential themes, outcomes, and the fact that it's being held in a major fossil fuel producing nation? Peter or Juliet, did you want to share thoughts?
All right. I think this is a really interesting question. I think this is a really interesting COP for a lot of reasons. And one of the central ones is what the person asked there, you know, it being in a major fossil fuel producing nation. I think, you know, there's a lot of criticism, right, that this is it in the UAE, that the UAE picked, you know, an oil executive to be its president for this. However, at the same time, there's a tremendous amount of pressure, I think, on the UAE and the people who are going to really show that this is serious. And so I think that creates a dynamic that that could be interesting. I mean, I think, you know, if you listen to a lot of the COP officials, they're saying, you know, this is going to be momentous, this is going to be big. But at the same time also saying, but there probably won't be language about a phase out of fossil fuels, you know, that's not possible. So then you do wonder, okay, well, what could come out of this? Obviously we don't know that, but I think just that dynamic is really interesting, and you can see it from a cynical side and like, well, it's, you know, oil producing nation, and this is going to be more of the same. We're not going to see real movement towards a reduction of emissions, of, you know, of all these things we've been talking about for years. Or you can see it as there's a lot of pressure to really see some progress, and what might that be. So I think I would just start the conversation with that.
I think things, you know, these annual UN climate talks are, you know, a challenge for everyone. I certainly feel like when I started coming to them, I had, you know, my line was that having covered the U.S. Congress, I thought that was the most dysfunctional political body in the world until I started covering the UNFCCC, and then I learned there was a more tortured political body. And I think all the messiness that comes from these global climate negotiations speaks to how very hard it is for the world to transition away from fossil fuels. This is the reality. And so that is part of what is laid bare every time, you know, nearly 200 countries convene to decide what they should do about it. And so both, we always it almost seems like every year we should write the story of why does everyone keep coming to COP? And there's a legitimate argument for ignoring it altogether, but there's also kind of the very tortured nature of it, I think, is one of the reasons why it's essential to scrutinize it and be there.